Hello everyone, welcome to easyodds.com. My name is Ross Casey and I'm here for a new weekly roundup of horse racing with our horse racing tipster Jake Johns. He's been in really good form over Easter. So let's have a quick look back at your wins for Easter and also today, Wednesday, where you've already had two winners.
Had a good day today, yeah.
So let's have a quick browse through those. Jake?
Yeah, so it started really well on all-weather finals day at Lingfield, where Volunteer Point won. I tipped him at 5-1. He was up with the pace. I thought if he settled better, he has a really good chance against an odds-on favourite. The odds-on favourite finished lame, which is quite sad, but he was up the pace the whole way. He settled a lot better, and exactly what I thought was going to happen happened, and he won. I think he went off 4-1, but I tipped him at 5-1, so hopefully a few people got that. I then tipped Moonrise Landing in the marathon, which was the most obvious bet of the day by far, because his form was ridiculous. It was a lot better than the second favourite Anglophile. It just seemed like he was like to win, but then he got into a lot of trouble in running. He got into a really tough spot. Jim Crowley did very, very well to get him out of that spot, but I think it was because of the horse rather than him. He kind of got himself into trouble. Crowley said he thought he had enough horse under him the whole way through, but it was pretty close in the end. But I think that was a really good horse, one to take out, especially probably the best horse to take out of the entire meeting, of the entire all-weather finals day. He was very impressive, and he's been impressive all on the all-weather for a long time now, and I think he could probably go on to good things on the turf. So hopefully, maybe a Royal Ascot or some kind of tilt at these better staying marathon trips. And then on Saturday, I had Billy Dutton, who I tipped at 12-1 each way at Haydock. He gave away the outside to no one the whole way round, which is really annoying, which keeps happening to me recently. I don't know why, but he still managed to finish third. I thought it was a good thing for a place. He seemed a good thing for a place. It was easy to say afterwards, but he did place, and it was 12-1, so that's quite a nice little return from in each way. And then also I tipped up California Chrome in the Dubai World Cup, the richest race in the entire flat world. I thought he seemed about 4 or 5 lengths better than he did last year in his prep run at Meydan. He ran well last year despite giving away the outside. He did that again, actually. He gave away the outside again, Espinosa, but he's just a better horse this year, without a doubt. He sweated up really badly before the race, which was quite worrying, but I kept the faith. Had quite a big bet on him, so that was decent. I tipped him at 2-1. I think he went off 15-8, which was still a good price because he was definitely the most talented horse of the race. But that's a nice little return for the jockey and trainer. I
think there was quite a few people that made quite a bit of money on California Chrome.
Yeah, I think a few of the professionals probably laid into him quite heavily. And then on Monday, I had a good day overall, but it was still very frustrating, which we'll come on to later. Bobby's Kitten, very strange drift in the Cork Stakes in the opener at Cork on Monday, 6 furlong race. It was run on heavy going. It was more like soft, to be honest. It was pretty nice weather the day. It was probably like soft, kind of soft and heavy. But I tipped him at 5-2, and he drifted to 5-1, despite Gordon Lord Byron being withdrawn, and he was 5-2 before that. So if he got withdrawn and he went on 5-2, that would have been a pretty big
strange drift, isn't it?
It was really, really, really odd. I mean, he's a former Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint winner. He beat 2 Royal Ascot winners in that race. Obviously, he's got American owners, American breeding, trained in America for the most of his career until now. Now he's at Dermot Weld. So he's obviously going to prefer. I mean, he's only run on good ground or really fast ground, which was the main issue that I guess that everyone was kind of worried about. But 5-1, and he was very clearly the class horse in the race. I mean, there was nothing anywhere near as good as him, especially when Gordon Lord Byron got withdrawn. And Gordon Lord Byron is a little bit past his best anyway, but it was crazy. 5-1, he won easily, won by a long way. But and then
so that's your second 5-1 winner there. Happy days.
Yeah, it's happy days. And then it was the Irish Grand National, but we'll go on to that later. We'll have a little chat about the Irish Grand National, because that was not a good time for me, even though I still had a nice each-way winner, place. But on Wednesday, and then we're going on to Wednesday. I didn't do great yesterday, but today I've done really nice. I had a 22s taken at Exeter. He's got good form, Exeter. It's his first run for quite a while, trained by David Pipe. Oh, it's a she, actually. It's her first run for quite a while, trained by David Pipe. The claimer took off a good bit of weight, so she was on a good mark. She ran with Exeter. She loves soft going. She's got great form figures on the soft. But she went off. She opened at 13-2 last night, which was crazy, and she was still 32 when I woke up this morning. It was mental, and I think she went off 4-1 actually, and won by about 3/4 of a length. A really good front running ride. but tipped at 13-2 last night. So that was a nice price one as well. So Pat was really happy with that.
Just something to mention to our subscribers here that Jake often puts up a early bird kind of tip for his daily tips. So if you're kind of searching the site around 5-6 p.m. each day, then you're likely to find at least one tip for the next day.
I usually put one on in the first one. I put it the night before if I think it's going to shorten quite a lot by the next day. I didn't actually put that one on the night before, but I put it on quite early. I put it on with the rest of them, but for some reason it's still 13-2. So that was a really nice price as well. And then Moon River, which was even crazier, even more a tempting price, even though it wasn't as big, 7-2. He has unbelievable subtle form. Horses that have good subtle form, you always repeatedly run well there. And this is one that has a seriously good subtle form. Trained with Michael Appleby, he's really good with these types of horses. Was up with the running again. He won last time. He was only put up £3 from that run. It was at Seville, and he actually drifted to the left-hand side to the inside rail, which is a really bad place to be in Seville. It seems a little bit better this season, but it's still not. It's still quite a big negative, and he still won quite cozily despite that drift and despite going to the inside rail. So
one to keep an eye on. So if you want to have a horse alert on that, I would suggest any time that he's running Southall.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, he's a very good Southall horse. I don't know how much he's going to be put up from that run, but 7-2 was absolutely mad. I reckon he should have been about evens at the very. He could have even been in shades of odds on, because that's how much likely he was to win. The only other one that was kind of unexposed, especially on the Seville surface, was I think it was Lexington Times, who has the breeding suggested he was going to go well at Seville. I think he came third, about 9-1, but. He had the beating of all these other horses that he'd beaten a lot of them the time before as well. It was crazy. 7-2, lumped on that. Hopefully everyone else did as well.
So that's a run through of Jake's winners so far this week. So why don't we take a look back at the big race last weekend, which of course was the Irish Grand National, Jake.
Yeah.
As you said, you got an each way winner in there.
Yeah.
But give us a bit of a reasoning as to why your big tip fell through.
Well, it's 16-1 each way, so it's a really nice return for the each way backers. Anyway, he came second. Bless the Wings, ridden by Ruby Walsh, trained by Gordon Elliott, travelled like an absolute dream. Went through the race very nicely. Brilliant ride from Ruby Walsh. He got a little bit of stick for it because he got kind of. Basically, what happened was he travelled into the race really well on the bridle, going over the last. He then jumped ahead of Rogue Angel, who eventually won the race. After last, bumped into him, which probably actually gave Rogue Angel a bit of a push, and I think really hindered our chances. I think we would have been. It took us off the bridle quite quickly as well. So I think if we stayed on for a bit longer, I think it could have been a bit different. But basically, Ruby Walsh got a bit of stick because he overtook Rogue Angel, and then got reheaded again past the line. But I don't think it was much of his. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault at all. I mean, you have to take You have to ride Bless the Wings that way. He doesn't do much in front, so you have to. Use him in the very last minute, but it was just frustrating because he looked like the winner all over the winner after the last, and I thought 16-1, that's absolutely massive. A lot of people seem to back him. I don't know if it's because of the Ruby Walsh thing, but he had a big chance. It was a brilliant ride from Joe Fox on Rogue Angel from the front. Really happy for connections, but it was just very annoying.
One of those things.
Yeah.
So let's move on to a bit of news.
Oh, one more thing.
Sorry.
Just one more in that race as well. There was a horse called Bay de Lay. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But he ran really well. Only a 5-year-old in the Irish National. Unbelievable running. Stayed on really strongly under Katie Walsh into 6th. Definitely one for the future. One to keep your eye on for all these long distance races, because definitely only a 5-year-old. He'll be decent next year.
So that's Jake John's recommendation for your horse alerts if you use the horse alert system on Easy Odds.
Don't go from my pronunciation. Go from the 6th in the Irish National, because if you go by pronunciation, you're not going to be able to find it.
So let's move on to a bit of news now, Jake.
Yeah.
Of course, the big news this week that Min is being pulled out for the season.
Yeah.
Just your quick thoughts on that bit of news.
Well, it's a bit sad, isn't it? Really. I mean, it would be nice to see him run at Aintree. I think Willie Mullins is going to send a lot of his a good yard to a good number of horses to Aintree this year. So he didn't send that many last year. So it'd be nice for him to send them this year. And Min probably would have gone, and he's not going to, because apparently he just came out of Cheltenham really badly. He's out for the season. He'll be back next season, though. I probably would. People are kind of saying that it might have made a difference in the result in the Supreme Novice Hurdle, but I don't think anything would have beaten Altior. I mean, he was a monster that day, so I think maybe he just came out of it badly, so he's just out for the season, basically.
Yep.
End of.
End of.
Yeah.
one for next season. So let's take a look forward now, as we've looked back at the week. The big race of the weekend, of course, is the Lincoln Handicap.
Yep.
Jake's tip will be on site shortly, probably tomorrow. So let's have a quick breeze through how you feel that race could well go.
Yeah, well, it's obviously really, really tough to kind of figure it out at this stage. My tips will be online tomorrow. I think the declarations come in tomorrow morning, so they'll be much easier kind of to decipher. But there's a few in there that have kind of caught my eye. I mean, if going on the trends, I mean, a lot of the Lincoln runners of the last 10 years have been aged 4 to 6. They're usually kind of rated between, I think it's definitely under 104, maybe like 90 to 104, something like that. But yeah, the trends in these big handicaps, they're not always that reliable, but it's kind of a good kind of mark to maybe like consider. But don't always go on it. If there's something unbelievably good in it, going off a high mark, then maybe consider it. But oh yeah, there was a bit of news today. Mitrad, who was quite high up in the market, second favourite, he was actually withdrawn. He had a pretty bit. I thought he had quite a good chance. Stable won it in 2010 with Penitent. He was lightly raced. This one's lightly raced. I think he's quite a fragile horse. So once they get him right, he could be. He's one to follow, I think, as well. Mitrad, but he's been withdrawn today. Bravo Zolo is another one that's kind of interesting me. He's not the sort of horse that I'd back at all usually in these races. His form of his Wolves win is working out really, really well. A couple of winners coming out of that race. Yeah, but from what he's shown so far, he could be a little bit better on the weather, but he's unexposed on the turf still, so he could improve. But he's not the sort of horse I wouldn't usually back a horse that's really good on the weather and then hasn't showed anything on turf, because it's just kind of, I don't know. It's a bit of a punt, but the form's working out well from that race. Probably going to have more on him as well, which is obviously a massive positive.
Big plus, yeah.
Absolutely massive plus. One that's interested me, probably most of them all, is Predominant. He's a really lightly raced. He gets in off a decent mark a very workable mark of 90. He was fast finishing here in his last run at Doncaster on heavy going. The ground's soft at the moment. I don't know how much it's going to dry up. I think the weather's going to be all right, so it might dry up quite considerably. But if it's soft, he has a big chance. William Haggis does really well with these types of horses. He's very unexposed, and yeah, I think he's got a shot off of 90.
So kind of an anti-post quick view there from Jake, and he's pointed out Predominance as a possibility.
I could change my mind completely by tomorrow.
As I was about to say, make sure that you come back online to easyodds.com tomorrow, where he will have his tips up for the Lincoln Handicap. But as well as that, he's already got up his Grand National tips, outright tips, as well as the ranking system that he's where Jake's looked at the top 20 in the market and kind of given them a chance of mid to good to poor. So after 16 to 1 each way winner in the Irish National, please take a look at his tips for the Grand National. There's around 3 or 4 that you picked out in the tip piece itself. So go on site and have a look at that. And tomorrow, log in and make sure that you have a look at the Lincoln Handicap tips from our man Jake Johns. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week with a review of the weekend.